So I'm going to go back to my first round. So if I'm not early first round and I'm a little bit later, I'm hoping to get Eckler. Now, I've always been an Eckler fan. You've hated him for years. And then last year you kind of jumped on board. Finally, I am all about Eckler. I mean, this guy is a true scat back. You're going to say injury prone, blah, blah, blah. He's had some injuries, nothing drastic. He did have one really bad year for injuries. But man, this guy is gold as far as PPR machine, which is what we always talk about. So the guy is gold. Last year was his best year by far in receiving, though. So you got to kind of weigh the pros and cons, right? Is he going to match what he did again in receiving? Is he going to lose some in receiving, gain some in rushing? I don't know. I just know that I'm happy with I want him. Right. I'm happy with Ekeler.
You know what? I actually kind of like Ekeler as a person. I really do. I think he just puts a lot of love towards the fantasy football community. He shows the passion. He shows the heart. Am I going to draft him? I just think there's other people that I like better in the first round. He's not a must draft, must love. I like him as a person now. I mean, and I don't know if you know this, Tim. I don't know if you know this. I got to cue this up again for this. Hold on one sec here. Did you know that he unblocked me off social media?
No way.
Yeah.
Because you stopped talking shit and wanting to challenge him on everything.
Well, I don't know. I just think that people got to him, DMing him, saying that Joe's speaking facts. Who knows, right? But he unblocked me, whether he's watching. Either way, yeah, I don't even know how I even noticed that. But not that I creep his profile or anything like that. But
yeah, right.
Something came up. I got tagged on one of his posts. Either way, I think he's good for the fantasy community. I think he actually cares about fans. I like him. Again, am I crazy about him? No. As a person, yeah, I like him. I think he's cool. We're going to have to get him on the show one day. And I think this is a guy that'll pursue fantasy and play fantasy after his career is long done and over. I think he'll be a force for good for the game. So
this is where you and I vary differently on our fantasy football takes. To you, it is such a passion that it's more important than anything to do with football. And now Absolutely. You're talking about you love this guy because of his thoughts on fantasy. I don't give a shit about his thoughts on fantasy football. I don't care. Play football, Ekeler. It's my job to try to decipher whether or not I think you're valuable in fantasy. I don't care if you say you love fantasy football and you wanted. I don't friggin' care.
It does make
a bit of to figure out if you're valuable or not.
But it's nice that they acknowledge the community.
It's nice that they acknowledge, sure.
Yeah, like AJ Brown, he hates fantasy, he hates the community. There's a lot of players that hate fantasy and they don't give an F about your fantasy team.
Good.
So
I don't care. He's a great player and he's going to get some touchdowns and throw up huge yardage. I don't care if you say fantasy football can kiss your ass.
But the crazy thing is that it runs in parallel with their performance. So if they suck at fantasy, they suck. By saying I hate fantasy is like shooting yourself in the foot.
No. Fantasy is a game within the game. And the game, the football game, is much more important in real life than the fantasy.
But if you're performing well on the field, putting up reality points, that's going to translate to fantasy. So by saying, I don't care about your fantasy teams, and yeah, maybe, but you should care about your points. That kind of it's relevant.
Yeah. But they should care more about the team winning.
Of course, yeah, they do.
That's got to be their focus, right? So if it means that they do something funky, if they do a Todd Gurley and they drop down at the 1 yard line, whatever, that's football. It's our job to try to decipher whether or not we think they're a great pickup based on what they do on the field. Their personal life, they're some real assholes in the NFL. Let's face it. That's nothing to do with it.
Exactly.
I don't agree with some of the things they do outside the game, maybe, but in the game, that's all that I'm focused on.
All right. Number 7.